So one of it is depression. And then I begin to ask myself, why do people get depressed? How does psychological violence come into play when we talk about electoral violence? Because I mean, someone would just listen to it or read it and just wave it, and like it's just about people running. It's just about police brutality or different political parties coming with their talks or all of those, right? People are really going to say, how does psychological violence come to play when we talk about elections?
Let's break it down. Let's make it more practical. So it's not like we're being all theoretical. Now, first of all, we've talked about, and we've said this a lot of times, women inclusion, women participation in politics. And then you have psychological violence where, for example, you tell a woman who is married, or you go to her husband and tell the husband that your wife, any woman in politics, is prostituting, because that's a perceived narrative. That's a narrative that is out there, and that's been adopted by so many people. So once you're a female politician, they say, oh, for her to get to where she is, she's sleeping with the male politicians. Sure. So that's psychological violence, because now you've told that man that his wife is prostituting. How does that encourage that man to support his wife in her political career? And without the support of her family, how is she supposed to move? And then so many times, this leads to a lot of internal crisis within their home. And what happens is that this woman pulls out of that race. They've gotten what they wanted. Or they come to the woman and tell her directly and tell her, why are you running? What's this one? What's this one? You will not get married. Nobody will marry you.
We've had a guest who said something like that.
You had Precious Oyiza was here saying that they asked her to go and get married. And then they tell you that nobody will marry you. Nobody likes politically savvy women. They don't want you to come. No man wants you to be like that. To just go and stay in your house. And then what you see is, most of the time, more often than not, this woman pulls out. Or they come to her and tell her, you're a woman. What do you think you can do? That day, you will not even see one vote. Who will vote for you? This one, that one, that one, that one. And then the person pulls out. All of these things are attempts to make sure that we don't have enough representation as women. And the onus falls on us to fight back, because we've had people who are, trailblazers that have gone into politics. We've mentioned late Dorakwe of blessed memory, whose husband supported her even up until her death. The husband was beside her. So she was doing all these things that she was doing, and she was married. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is married. These are perfect wives, beautiful mothers, like very good mothers. They've been able to
manage both the home front and
able to carry all to show us that this narrative is a wrong narrative. You can still be respectful to your husband, still take care of your children, and still aspire and have your political dreams. There's nothing stopping you.
It's just related to what we heard from Haja Zainab Mina, and she made mention of something like that. She was married to her husband until he passed last year, and she was into politics, and the husband supported her all through till he passed, till she became the former minister for women affairs and the rest of it. He was still there supporting her.
If you have a family member, a girl child, a wife, a mother who wants to go into politics, I think we should even encourage her. Encourage her, because somebody has to speak up for women. Somebody has to represent women. If she doesn't do it, who will?
True.
Who will? Nobody can represent you better than you. There are things that, that you as a man, you can even begin to even help her, support and suggest, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't you go to the house and also look at this? Because you as a man, you even have your daughter, you have your mother. So the interest of women, or the representation of women, is an issue that concerns every one of us, because we all have mothers. If you don't have a sister, if you don't have a daughter, at least you have a mom. How else did you come? So you should also be interested. You should also be interested in making sure that these women, their rights are protected. And if your family member, if someone from your family doesn't do it, who else wants to bring their family? It starts from you. So we should also try. And I mean, let's all stop this narrative. Let's counter all of these narratives that women should not be in politics just because. It starts from you. You start by giving support to, looking at the violence. We said women are the worst hit. We are looking at somebody like the woman leader in Kogi State, Ms. Salome Abu, who passed as a result of economic. So we're not even. This is not a far-fetched.
Like
it's
not
happening.
You could see
it happens.
You can see it.
Regularly.
It's just around you. I mean, a little bit away from political aspirants and candidates. Let's look at the population, general population.
The electorate, yes.
The electorates. Let's look at the intimidation, because I mean, political violence or electoral violence is the forceful use of power to achieve political goals and aim. So let's look at intimidation, because intimidation is another use of is a forceful use of power.
When your husband tells you, this is who my family, all of you, this is who you're voting for.
Yes.
And he takes all four of his wife and say, this is who we are voting for. You vote for the person against your will, even if the person does not represent your interest. You say, because he's my husband, because he's the head of the family, this is who I'm going to vote for. I mean, that's still psychological violence, because you've imprisoned that person, you put that person and told that person, this is who you're going to vote for. If you don't vote for this person, maybe you come back to the house and come and meet me.
All right, guys, this is the more we can take. We're going to go on a very short break. When we're right back, we'll pick it up from where we stopped. Don't go nowhere. Today, just like every other year, Nigerians are celebrating 62 years of their independence. Despite the inflation rate, insecurity, unemployment, and poverty, Nigerians are still standing tall, facing every challenge with all their might.
Nigeria is home. Nigeria is where I've lived all my life. It is where I've grown to become the person that I am today. It is where has taught me resilience. It's the place that has taught me to believe and to persevere despite the odds. Nigeria is one place that I've learned to find happiness even in the face of challenges. Nigeria is my home, it is your home, and as Nigeria turns 62 today, I wish all of us a happy Independence Day.
I believe in Nigeria because I believe Nigeria is a land of endless possibilities. I believe in a Nigeria where our youth do not need to go outside to seek for greener pastures. I believe in a Nigeria free for all to live in, full of hopes and dreams. I believe in a Nigeria where our youth are getting better education. I believe in a Nigeria of security. I believe in Nigeria of economic prosperity. I believe in Nigeria because I am a Nigerian. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.
Nigeria is a land that flows with milk and honey with so many opportunities. Despite we face so many challenges, but I believe in a greater nation. I believe in a Nigeria that works.
I don't carry my two left leg waka come today because now special one now we they do. You know, I'm not saying no easy. Nigeria are 62. You know easy. Don't say they don't born us before that time, but we know say better things suppose they happen for this our Obodo Nigeria. We know that this country now blessed the country. At least I experience Udoji. I experience all those times when we say my papa go carry plenty rice come house. They go carry carton of pick me come house. Everything they sweet us with the chop chicken yafu yafu. But I still believe say Nigeria they still move forward. We go get better one. We know say this country now better country. Nothing goes scatter am.
My name is Ijoma Odumodu. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.
I am Ibukun Adibari and I believe in a Nigeria of my dreams.
My name is Chukwuda Lumo and I am a Nigerian.
Now be this ogbonge sister. When your name be Lady B International.
My name is Tiana Ward-Brasi and this is AtikuLive. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Every Woman on AtikuLive, and today we are talking about the effect of electoral violence on women. And I just have been doing justice to this topic. I mean, I just been my guest on this show. Yes, we've had a wonderful time talking about this, and at the same time, as much as it's very amazing or wonderful to talk about this, it's also very annoying. Because I mean, I don't know why women have to be at the forefront when it comes to violence or attack or issues related to that, right?
Because we're vulnerable.
Even if we're vulnerable, I used to hear that vulnerable talk when I was younger and years back. I don't think in this 21st century,
we're still vulnerable.
We should be talking about vulnerability.
But we're still vulnerable. That's the fact. That's the truth of the matter.
Well, I mean that's why we have 2023 elections. If we have more women in decision-making tables and leadership positions, I don't think women will be that vulnerable again. But let's look at few causes of electoral violence. I just was saying something when we went on a break.
I said I don't think I needed to go too far. I think one of the major causes of electoral violence, especially on the election day proper, is I'm looking for a nice way to put this, but it's people not minding their business or doing what they are not supposed to do.
Doing what they are not supposed to do.
It is the job of INEC to collate and to
report.
It is not your job. As a polling agent, it is your job to make sure that INEC collates appropriately and that you transmit the same or you report the same back to the political party. INEC's job is to collate, to transmit, to announce the results. It is not your job. And this is one of the problems. This is what people not knowing what their roles are. The electorate does not know what their roles are. CSOs don't know what their roles are. Security operatives don't know what their roles are. And they don't know what their roles are. And that's why, because we don't have a clear cut, and even though it's there, people don't know. Because people are not aware of what their roles are, you end up doing roles that are not yours, that are not supposed to be yours, that are not assigned to you. And the result of this is election violence. So I'm sitting down in my house. My friend from, I'm looking for one constituency. My friend from...
You can use my constituency, I mean.
Iyaletu or Iyalatu calls me and says, oh, in my constituency now, I'm just about to vote. They're shooting gun everywhere. God just full everywhere. Or there are armed men here who just came in, and probably these are security operatives. I said they are armed men. People just carry gun, enter here. This one, and I go online. I pick my phone. I go on social media and I type in a Yala2 constituency. Go, they are armed men. And somebody takes it and say gunmen are shooting in Yala2, because that's the way information is. So before the information goes,
you keep having additions,
different forms, salt
yes,
and pepper, and by the time you get it back, you can't even recognize the story. And what happens is that you've put this thing there, and Cross River State just lights up. It just, fire just, they are trying to disenfranchise us. They are trying to, to shut us up. They don't want our voices to be heard. They don't want the people that we are voting for to come into power. Or let's go there. Or somebody comes and they are collating all these independent collators that collate fake results. Yes. You're coming. Somebody says APC is leading here by so. PDP is leading here by so. This one is leading here by so. You now collate. You start collating. You start putting your own figures online. And what happens is that this person feels, my party is losing. Let me go and burn this place. Let's go and destroy the ballot boxes.
I mean,
those are the major causes.
Just to add a little bit to what you said, right? It's because these are practical cases now. We're not stating theory. These are practical cases. Now, I just want to add a bit. When someone puts that online, right? Violence from the electorate themselves, because there have been cases where you see people from the electorate come out with different weapons of warfare, knives, guns, and everything, and in their own mind, or the mentality they have is, we're trying to secure our votes, we're trying to make sure that there's nothing is happening here, and a little spark, you begin to have violence between the electorate and security operatives.
It is your job as a citizen, as an electorate, to secure your votes. But that's why you have your mobile phones. That's why we have citizen reports. So I see something happening. You can't stop me from using my phone to record, as long as I'm not where I'm not supposed to be, because there are places you're not even allowed to. If somebody's going to go, you're not supposed to be there. But you cannot ask me not to cover what is going on. It is citizens report. I have the right to. I have the right to stand and say, this is my vote will count. Electoral Commissioner, count the votes, let us see. I have the right to record this with my phone. I have the right to upload this. It's my right. That is how I secure my vote. And I can record this. I can send to appropriate authorities. I can send to civil societies. I can send to security operatives. I can send to my political party if I'm affiliated with any political party. I say, this is what's going on. I want you to take action. And then this now marks where the next row starts. So as a civil society, as a political party, when somebody does something like this, you verify. And that's what, in 2019 with AtikuLive Studio in 2019, where there was the Snap and Send segment. We had the host of that show as a guest, Adiela. This was where those sort of forums, those platforms really came into place, because we saw that show, for example, that segment, and people would record and snap and tell you, this is what is happening in my local government right now with evidence. And even though you're seeing this, because videos can be generated from anywhere under any form of circumstance, so you send it. It is now your job as a civil society, as a political party, to send people down there to investigate this issue and verify that the claims made by this person is true. So if somebody tells me that they are burning our votes in so place, I can alert NCDC, NSD, and the Nigerians, NSCDC, yeah. I can alert them and say, can you guys go down to this place and check? This is a report that I've gotten. Or I can alert any other operative that is supposed to monitor this election and say, can you people check this place. This is the reports I have. And they can now go there and say, oh, this is actually happening before you as a reporter can even report it. So we don't, because you're having, I know in the last election, where in Osun State, where they were talking about vote buying, I saw different versions of story.
I'm telling you.
They say this one is buying votes. Another place will call and say, is this people that are buying votes? No, and it's the same picture, same evidence, different stories. And that's a problem. True. Because also from the side of the media, verify the news that you're posting with sanctions. There should be sanctions.
But in every polling unit in Nigeria, we have representative across board, representative of
the polling agents.
The polling agents that are there. So I think it's, if you have a concern, I feel that's one of the reasons why they are there, to actually look out for concerns and issues that are relative
and report it.
Now let's look at, because when you talked about citizens report and the rest of it, and you have mobile phones, you need to do your videos and your pictures and put it online. Let's look at the social media and online as one of the major
factors of dissemination
when it comes to electoral violence, right?
Okay.
And because when we have a regulated online spaces or regulated social media spaces, where, especially during these elections, where some posts cannot go live or cannot go on air, I think it's actually going to help, because we've seen a lot of that issue in 2019. Different scores, different results from different people. Most times when you go further to verify those profiles and those handles, you just realize that these are fake pages, fake accounts, fake profiles
that were created to spread propaganda.
Do you understand? But they are sending information out there, and the public,
because we as human beings, this is how we consume information. And you know, with the first information that reaches you, your mind, your perception has already been formed. A perception has been formed. You already have an idea, and it's going to take a lot. It's easier to get you to take the first information than it will, to get you to take out that information with a counter narrative. So if I tell you this person is a thief, by the time I come with facts and figures to prove to you that it's not, it's going to take a lot more to convince you that this person is not a thief, simply because that was the first information that got to you. So it's very important that the information that gets to people is controlled, which means we have the social media bills, really. It's still a matter of affecting these things. But we should have people that are verified. And as consumers, because there's really so much that you can do. It's social media. There's really so much that we can do. It falls on us as citizens to make sure that the information we are getting are from verified handles. I don't see why I should be getting information, election updates from I want information about do you get? I cannot be getting. I want information now about what is happening in a post. I'll now say I want to go to one Big Brother housemate's page to go and get the information on so when there are political parties, when they are news reporting in media, that you can get your verified. When INEC handle is there are channels that I know that I can get authentic information. Even some of these media houses, some have been known, some are known
to spread fake, to spread false.
I'm not going to mention names, but there are certain news media that I cannot even go to get news from, because I know that whatever is there is probably a lie.
True. It's unverified. Unverified.
I mean, they are there. We don't want to mention names, but we know that if you go here, you're probably going to get an untrue version of the state of things. So it's important that these people, I know as citizens, we know where to get the right information from. I'm not going to get my information from every Tom, Dick and Harry, because, I mean, what's your source? Somebody asked you what's your source, and I said, one guy in my office. Who's your source? Where are you getting your information from? That's part of the things that spark election violence, because you've posted this thing online, and you have access to a whole lot of people. These are very sensitive, touchy issues.
People get, because it's online, especially when it's on Facebook and Instagram, there's always room to share, repost, and forward. And then that's how we just keep forwarding.
You see one forwarded many times.
Forwarded many times on WhatsApp. And we have lots of WhatsApp groups. And everybody like, oh, it's happening. And then, aside from the fact that it's spiking electoral violence, it's bringing in tension. There's so much tension.
That's what gives rise to electoral violence.
Yes, in 2015, it was recorded the high rate of tension in the country, because news, it was everywhere. Oh, there's going to be violence. People didn't even come out to vote. We had low voter turnout because of propaganda and fake news and hate speech, everything that was posted online, there's going to be violence, or don't go out, or it's going to be very bloody. Who told you it's going to be bloody?
Somebody, one guy in my office.
How did you know it's going to be bloody? So I feel
one guy on my street.
There need to be serious regulation, especially now that we're approaching 2023 elections. In fact, the electorate need to know that, just like you said, where you get your information is very important. Just the same way we have other electoral bodies and civil societies carrying out trainings, for which I think is very imperative. I like that should be done between now and February next year.
I mean, I'd like to say also that even the civil societies have been implicated in some of this electoral violence, because one, and in as much as I know that we can't even have foreigners come and tell us what to do, because they don't have any right to come in. They can observe the elections, they're very, very free to, but they're not supposed to weigh in on our elections so much. And this is what the CSOs do. The CSOs come, they observe the elections. There was the one with the situation room, Nigerian Civil Society situation room, which was very helpful in the last elections. But we've seen a lot of civil societies also implicated, because no matter how much we try to deny it, everybody is partisan.
True.
There is no...
True.
So that is why you even look within the INEC too. Anybody who is a Nigerian is partisan. If you're going to be there and you're running, you're in a CSO and you're monitoring, that's because you have a stake. You have an interest in Nigeria and you're looking for good governance. You want Nigeria to be better. If you want Nigeria to be better, because we are all human beings, there's a candidate that you think is going to take you to that better Nigeria. As an INEC official, there's a candidate that you think will take you to that better Nigeria. So a part of you is already, biased. A part of you is already biased. Now, it behoves, especially on the INEC, to not let this biased part of you show. The people's choice is the people's choice. Don't let that biased part of you show. You're not the one that is going to tell these people, oh, this is the person that is the best candidate for you. I can only give you my opinion, but it's not my job. This is the best. People don't know what you're doing. I must give you the person that I think is good for you. If the people say this is who they want, then I think the majority of people have said that this is who they want, because this is the person that they see that is going to actualize their dreams, that is going to give them, the kind of representation that they're looking for, or the leadership that they're looking for. Allow them. That's their opinion. That's their choice, and for good reason. You might not see it. So when we have civil societies, and we had civil societies, and one in the last election that came out to say one thing, that the elections were free and fair in Osun, and the same civil society coming out again to allege that there was violence, and there were that the number of voters they were higher than the number of people that voted were higher than the number of registered voters. I mean, this is the same person that in the same group that said that this was a good election, it was free and fair, everything was in order, and you're coming back to say. So at this point, it also makes you wonder how we should also take these things, information from these groups, with a pinch of salt. As at this point, the only people to trust in or to take any form of information from is the INEC. And that is why we must ensure as a people that INEC is truly independent. It is our job. So I like what they did. They came out, you say you don't have internet, we'll turn on our hotspots, use our internet. I have internet. It is our job to ensure that INEC is truly independent. And that doesn't mean we are not going to ensure it on election day. Yeah, we start now. So when the INEC is putting up this, we say, no, this is not what you said. Oh, INEC, you said that anybody that submits candidates after so day, this is invalid. You start and you say, no, INEC, you must stick by the rules. And then it also goes back to the rules. Okay, so we had a lot of pressure from Nigerians and from the media so that the Electoral Act will be signed into law. That's one done. How many of us as Nigerians were involved in this process? How many of us looked at this Electoral Act? Okay, now this new Electoral Act, having been signed, how many of us have gone through the act that is going to guide the elections? It's not about us coming online to come and shout and make noise. How many of us have gone through the laws that is guiding these elections that we are shouting about online? How many of us understand what it says?
I mean, you're going too far, because every average Nigerian, when you have to probably buy something online or do something online and you're asked to read terms and conditions, I don't think any average, or let me not say any, I don't think a large percentage of Nigerians actually read the terms and conditions. They
But
just go ahead to
this
say.
goes
really
beyond that.
important.
Because we are coming online, we are shouting, we are making noise, but we are not going through the things. See, social media banter is not going to guide how the elections go. The Electoral Act will. And the sooner we know what the Electoral Act says, the sooner we know which of our candidates are abiding by these laws, the sooner we know which of our candidates is overstepping boundaries. The sooner we know when they're about to step out, or which party is about to, go behind the books and try to disregard, or trying to put aside certain aspects of this thing and call them to order, because it is our job to call them out. So we had the coalition of United Political Parties, the CUPP, and Ikengu Gochinyere, who is the head of that organization. We had them calling out INEC over false details or false data in the voters, the list of voters that was published. Yeah. And they were calling them out, and and that is the job of every citizen. I cannot wait for CUPP to do that, because if CUPP doesn't do that, and I don't do that, I've given room for a lot to take place. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit back and wait for one organization to do that. And if one organization does do that and puts out this thing, it is my job to go on it immediately and start lending my voice. Yeah. Because when we start lending our voice and we start calling out and say, if you don't want to be perceived, if you don't want to be perceived as being corrupt ahead of a major election, this is what you must do. You must attend to this. You must attend to this. You must respond to this. And we saw INEC responding to that issue, because the voice of the people it's a very loud voice. It's important.
Of course, we're actually in democracy, and of course, you can't have democracy without the people.
Do you understand?
It's really important.
So let's start now. Let's follow. What does INEC say? What does the Electoral Act say, rather, about this, about the election? Okay, so let's prevent violence. So let's prevent violence on the election day. How can we go about this? How can I support my candidates within the confines of the law?
Already, I think, Ajay, you've already given out the possible solutions to actually curb electoral violence. INEC has a major role to play.
The security operatives have a major role to play. They may have a major
role to play. I mean, everybody has to come together to work to make sure that the elections are free and fair, and then it comes on smoothly. Now, I'm going to talk about a particular group of people that, if INEC have actually done their job, and the federal government have done their civil societies and the rest of them have done their job, this particular set of people also need to be put into consideration, or they actually need to put in order, right? And these are political party supporters. Yes, because I think for every political party, you need to put your supporters in check, because over time, reports and research have actually seen that political party supporters are the ones that kickstart electoral violences in polling units. And how does that happen? Why is it supposed to happen? So you need to actually train your supporters for every... In fact, it has already been said that you're not supposed to wear anything identifying you to a polling unit to cast a vote.
But when the people who are the candidates have not led by example, how do you want the supporters to follow? Where do you want them to follow? I mean, one of the most practicable solutions that we've had, or one important solution that we have, is the signing of the peace accord by political parties say, or candidates to say, I don't want violence. What you're doing is you're sending a message to everybody who is supporting you. You're saying that all is fair in love and war, but that we don't want violence. This is politics. Our interest is the people, and we cannot fight to serve. Nobody fights for response. We cannot fight in trying to serve you. We do what Jonathan did. And President Jonathan in 2015 said that no Nigerian's blood was what his ambition. And that sent a strong message to all his supporters that even if Jonathan is losing, even if Jonathan is losing, it's not enough for us to take up arms. It's not enough for us to be violent, because he himself has set that pace. But what we have now is a candidate who does not see it important to turn up and sign a peace accord.
True.
What message are you sending? And for a candidate who has been endorsed by a lot of thugs, let's be real. What kind of message are we sending?
I think you have a point there. You have a very striking point there, IJ, because if you can't even be available to sign a peace,
you're saying that peace is not an option.
You've picked violence.
Peace is not. You're saying, comrades, peace is not an option. That's what you've said.
You've already signed.
You told them that violence is the only way. True. And let's. I mean,
IJ, let's also look at another political party. We've seen a lot of 1 million marches and the rest of them. I think that political party should actually put their supporters in order, because it's a movement and everybody has their right to actually. The campaigns have kickstarted according to INEC. 28 was the date to kickstart presidential campaigns and the rest of them. But I am of the opinion, especially for 2023 elections, my personal opinion, that party supporters should be put in check. That you are at your polling unit to carry out your right and civic responsibility, and to also act as an agent. An agent, right? Doesn't give you the right to start up a violence.
I think that
you should have. I mean, we've had Dr. Charity said that before. What we're looking at now should be issue-based campaign. We're not looking at hate speech, or we're not looking at problems or talks of violence or terrorism and banditry and the rest
irrelevant
of them.
Talks. And for me, I feel like you have a right as a Nigerian to support whoever you want. True. I can only tell you that based on experience, based on track record, proven track record, that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is the way to go if we want a better Nigeria. But you can only take a horse to the water. You cannot force the horse to drink. I cannot force you to vote for my candidate. So I cannot come online and abuse you and say do this and do that and do that. And I feel like a lot of Labour Party supporters have gotten it wrong, and they might put their candidate in trouble. These people, my only prayer is that this violence they practice online, they don't take it offline. You've started with offline matches, keep it there. But don't take this violence offline, because that's not what we're here for. The Nigeria we want is a united Nigeria. We want all these candidates, all the candidates that are coming out, I believe came out because they want to make Nigeria better. And then it's our job as citizens to sit back and say, okay, so you want to help me, but you want to get me water, you want to get me rice, and you want to get me chocolate. And I say, what is important to me is rice. Or what is important to me is water. It does not mean, what is important to me is what is important to me. And if what is important to a majority of the people is water, then give them the person that wants to give them water. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's not enough to me to start calling out a person that is giving me rice and say, oh, you want to give me rice, you want to give me rice, when I want water. You're a stupid person for wanting to give me rice. No. There's no need for that. It's up to us as a nation to go back, sit back and ask ourselves, what is truly important at a time like this for us? And obviously, I think one thing that has given rise to all of the issues that we are facing in Nigeria is the sharp divide. Yeah. The sharp divide along ethnic and religious lines. That is the problem that we are facing in Nigeria. And if you ask me, the one thing that we need at this time is to be one. Because if we don't even have one country, then why are we struggling? What is the race for a presidency about? The country you're about to, you're doing all these things to lead is on the brink of division. Yeah. So what we need at this time is somebody who is going to come and hold Nigeria together, pull Nigeria together and say, let's be one. That's first of all, we must have a Nigeria that we are going to fight for. That's the first thing. All
right, guys. So this is the much we can take for today's episode. I believe you've actually take something home. It's very important, and I like what you said, that every Nigerian, especially, I'm actually saying especially, every Nigerian has to do that. I'm saying especially because, especially to the Labour Party supporters, because they are always online. If you're always online,
I think a Labour Party supporter dragged Tiana this morning.
No.
I've tried
That's really drag you this weekend. If you have the time to go online to start up a movement, you should have the time to go online to read the Electoral Act.
It's online. It's actually online. It's there.
Online. It's
this
there for
is so easy for everybody to see. I mean, this is why we try. I mean, we've been trying to break this thing down so that everybody, because I don't want blind supporters. I want you to actually see that this is what the Electoral Act is. And more than that, I also want you to see the candidate I'm bringing to you. I'm not here to hype and make noise. We are actually breaking down his policies. We are telling you, oh, this is what he plans to do for education, for economy, for devolution of powers. This is what he intends to do, so that you make a better informed decision. That's why we are here, really.
True. Like I just said, we can't have, if we're not united, we can't have a Nigeria for anybody to want to run for the office of the president. Well, so that's why I said they need to, it's online. Everybody needs to go read up the Electoral Act rather. And then everybody needs to come together to make sure we have a free and fair and smooth and peaceful elections. Irrespective of the fact that we have a presidential candidate who wasn't even present to sign the peace accord, we would look at that another day. But let's be sure that everybody go ahead to read up the Electoral Act, and please know the source, know your source of information.
Know your source.
Don't go online and blow things out of proportion.
Source, I know feel life for you. Please.
All right, guys, this is what we can take. I think IJ is really on the hot seat today. Well, it's been a beautiful time with you guys on today's episode of Every Woman on AtikuLive. I've enjoyed the much of this show, and I've learned a lot, and I know you all out there have also learned something. Please go up and read the Electoral Act.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is not the year for violence. This is the year for issue-based campaign. Like I just said, if you want to give, if you've said you want to give people agbado, let the people that are ready to eat agbado morning.
Let them vote for you. No problem. No problem.
There's no fight.
No problem. We don't have problem.
We don't have to.
If you want to talk about that's fine. That's your choice. I mean, I don't.
All right, guys. Until I see you tomorrow, have a beautiful public holiday. My name is Tiana Wabrasi, and please do well to send us your comments and suggestions to the social media handles that are displayed right now on your screen. Till I see you tomorrow, have a beautiful, beautiful day. And till I see you guys tomorrow, I'm saying peace is an option, violence is not. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. My name is Ichoma. I used to think I do.